Salutations, people of the internet and the world. This is Andre Kleins, the owner and operator of Phantom Wolf Studio, and as you can see, this is our fifth out of our 8-part mini-series and the first out of 2 insight to my stories in progress and process. Let's get started. So the work in progress we'll be looking at is Into the Unknown, which I'm doing for my fiction writing class I have 2 times a week. The premise for the story is about a group of borrowers, or little people, or tiny people as they're also known as, having to leave their homes that they had for many, many years because after the original owner died, he didn't mind them living in his walls, which borrowers typically live in walls. But when the old man died from disease and old age, his kids put the house up for auction, and that the dragon-like bee and his spellcaster for wife end up buying it, which taller people, the borrowers, little people refer to tall people as beans. So once the beans buy the house, the main character, Althea, and her siblings, along with her best friend and love interest, Mahad, have to leave because Mahad warned them saying, hey, we gotta get out of here. So they take the vessel that the old man made for him called a Voyager, which turns into a caravan, a plane, and a boat, is a shifting vessel, to parts unknown, where Althea can raise her siblings and future children with Mahad in peace without that too much of a rocky learning curve and shift to a new location. There's always going to have that learning curve and shift once you move, because moving is hard, but they're trying to find a place where it can be as seamless as possible so her siblings don't go through the hassle and trouble of being the new kids for too long. So regarding the progress of the piece so far, it's got a title. The prologue itself been at through about maybe 5 or 6 edits so far. A lot of this is still the same, but with new add-ins regarding a flashback to an old lady talking to Mahad about why didn't he leave and he didn't want to leave, to him finding out that they have to move and then going to warn Althea. And then chapter 1 has been through about maybe 4 to 6 edits. Most of it's still the same, but there have been parts added to it regarding more detail of the big reveal that they have to leave and the impact it has on the children. And along with Althea, we start seeing progressions for this regarding her and Mahad's relationship that hinted that they both have a thing for each other. Chapter 2 has been through about 5 edits itself. This used to be all in dialogue, but now it's internal thoughts now, with them hinting to the mechanics of their vessel, to their travels. In Chapter 2, we find out about what happened to Althea's family, which they were tragically killed by spiders, so Sina has a massive fear of arachnids in general. Her and Mahad talk. He comforts her after he accidentally slips up about spider webs, which triggers her flashback to the day her parents died. To them, a micro village, and we meet Cain at the end of Chapter 2. And he asks them to dinner, so they end up going with him to dinner. So the chapter I'm currently at right now is Chapter 3. It doesn't have anything other than its title, which is Micro Village and Antics at Cranky Croc, which is the restaurant they go to. But I do have bullet points regarding when we take in the story, which is about them at the restaurant after Cain gives them a tour of the village, and the main character, Althea, goes maybe we can stay for a little bit longer, so she's thinking. So she can get a feel of what type of place they want to move to. Because of the restaurant, things go to awry when the past antics of Cain and Mahad start coming out from some older people who remember them as teens. And our main girl, Althea, knows about her friend being a wild child, but not to the extent he was when him and his family came to visit Cain's family. That's pretty much how Chapter 3 goes. And then Chapter 4, which will be the last chapter I'll be using for my fiction class, but I'll be expanding on this more outside this class in the future. We pretty much Cain helping them go to the landing strip, turning the boat into a plane, and then them traveling off to parts unknown. And the way the story got to this, my style of writing is I think out loud. When it comes to planning a story, pop up an idea, taking different things and Frankensteining them together. That's where I get the term Frankenstein things in, because the main for my style is taking bits and pieces and smashing them together to get the result. Another thing about my writing style that I had to use for this piece and all my pieces is dictation, because I'm the type of writer who has trouble getting my thoughts onto pen and paper or pencil and paper, or taking my thoughts to my fingers on a keyboard. So I have to use dictation. The two types of dictation I would use is dictation on my phone or dictation on Word. And then if it's on my phone, I would transfer it to either emailing it to myself or using Messenger. And if I'm just doing it on a Word document, it just pops up. But the bad thing about dictation is it does not always catch the words or says some very wacky things. So before I can even edit it, I have to go through and fix dictation's random capitalization or spacing, which happens a lot. Which leads into the other half of my style, going into the editing process.